once we're over 50, after 50 years on this planet, we've got a really finely tuned GPS inside of us. We know in our hearts the right way to go. So fear can like type in from behind. Regret sometimes comes as a passenger and all of that. But what I believe, and this is so empowering to even think about it, is that not only do we get to decide, being a witness and as you said, being aware of why or thinking about why, we get to flip it.
Hi, and welcome to Beyond Empty Nest. I'm your host, Jody Silverman, speaker, mentor, and Chief Dare Officer at Moms Who Dare. Every Thursday, I'll share stories of midlife transformation, happiness tips, and dare you to see the opportunities waiting for you so that you can make this next chapter even better than the last. If you're ready to dare, I'm ready to dare with you. Let's get into today's episode. 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than by the ones you did do. So throw off the bow lines, sail away from the safe harbor, catch the trade winds in your sail, explore, dream, and discover. That quote from Mark Twain came to me in the form of a recent email from today's guest, Diana Place. And I knew immediately that the topic for today's episode would be the topic from her email, which is fear management. Follow your heart to unleash and fulfill your wildest dreams. And in just a moment, we will dive into just how you can start to do that. But first, let's talk about Diana. She was our guest in episode 2 when we launched our show a year ago. And today marks our 50th episode, exactly 1 year. Yeah, 1 year and 1 week later. I'm going to take a minute and go, woohoo! So excited. So yes, it's very exciting. But after years of dancing on the edges of her passions through a roller coaster life and career, it was a coincidence of 3, what Diane likes to call lightning strike experiences: a cancer diagnosis, a loss of a business venture, and an empty nest as she turned 60, that compelled her to dig deep to focus on what she truly wanted to do with her, quote, one wild and precious life, unquote. Fostering connection, inspiring others, and sharing people's stories have always been a personal passion of Diana's. She had never put this passion front and center until Third Act Quest was born. And in case you're wondering, Third Act Quest and now her 333 Collective are her ways of reframing the perception and experience of aging and inspiring connecting women as they create their life's most exciting chapter, their third act, and fulfill their wildest dreams. That's a mic drop right there, Diana. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just can't believe that you were part of my launch in episode 2. And now here you are back with me, episode 50. It's exciting. And I love sitting down and talking with you. And I know our audience is going to really enjoy this conversation because truthfully, who doesn't have fear?
Absolutely. And I just want to acknowledge that amazing, inspiring podcast you have created.
Thank you.
I know how much it takes to create and put this out into the world. So thank you.
Oh my God, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. And thank you to our listeners. So here's the thing. You sent me this beautiful email and I loved it. And I'm actually thinking maybe we'll even link to that email with your permission in the show notes.
Oh, I'd love that.
It was a beautiful email because it included your daughter being inspired you to write this.
Absolutely.
This email. And in the email, you talk about fear management.
Yes.
What do you mean by fear management?
Well, I sort of joked with myself recently because I realized over my life that I always felt like I can handle anything. I have so much courage. And I finally just said, maybe I should add the term fear management as one of my skills on LinkedIn. And that's sort of a joke, but in the end, it had me thinking a lot about fear and how we deal with it. Now, we all know that it's a necessary part of our makeup as humans to keep us safe, the very basic things that, when we were cave people, a
Yeah.
tiger would come in, we'd need to use that fear to get the adrenaline and run or whatever. However, over time, that fear becomes much more regularly triggered in us in forms of anxiety, especially as we age. I think
Mhm.
we get to a place where we go, "Oh my god, I only have this much time left. What am I gonna do? I have all these things I wanna do," or we have fear every time we go get a mammogram or
I do.
something, fear that this could be it for us. We also have fear fueled by the fact that we start to see our friends suffer and the losses of our parents. So and of course, the launching of our children out into the world, and this world is a scary one to think of launching these
Yeah.
creatures into the world. So all of that conspires to create more of the kinds of emotional reactions we have around fear. So
Yeah.
fear management is really remembering that you are in charge. You are in charge of how you experience absolutely everything in your life, no matter what it is. Back in 2018, I got this wild ass head cancer diagnosis. I chose to believe I would survive, and I did. I chose to not live as a victim, and instead, it hurtled me into this whole time of I just, incomprehensible gratitude for every simple thing in my life. The people, the birds at my bird feed, all of those things which were important to me before became core. So what I kept thinking over time is like, I can manage fear. Definitely can manage fear. But it's a dangerous thing to think about because you don't want to ignore fear
No.
all the time. But as we talked about recently, and I think this was brought alive in Liz Gilbert's book, Big Magic, fear belongs in the backseat
Yeah.
of your car on this journey in life. You gotta have it there in case, there's something weird, coming around the corner. However, you don't let it in the front, it can't hold the steering wheel, and
Right.
God forbid, it can't put its foot on the brakes. So that's my little fear management
No,
one.
and I love it. I think what the two things that stand out for me are number one, understanding that you have a choice
Yeah. Yeah.
and that fear doesn't get to drive. But the other thing is that it's not about choosing not to let fear drive does not mean not feeling the emotions. It's
Mm,
becoming aware that the emotions are there.
yes.
Why are they there right now, right here? Like it's all, you know what it is? It's all self-awareness. Also,
Absolutely.
everything begins with being aware of what you're thinking, aware of what you're saying, aware of how you're feeling. And once you're aware of why am I feeling fearful now? Why do I feel angry? Why do I feel stuck? Why do I feel unclear?
Mm, mm.
And it's okay to ask those why. You're getting curious. I wonder what it is that's causing me to feel fearful right now. And when you
That
do
is
that,
that is
put
a oh,
distance. You put the distance between us so
yeah,
you can look at it and say, ah, it's
yeah.
fearful because I'm getting ready to do this really big, daring thing.
Mhm.
And you know what? That's okay. Because I love what you said. It brought up a quote that I recently said that when you said, there's the fear that tells us not to touch the burning hot stove, right? To
Right.
protect ourselves. And I said this, it came out during one of my Zooms with my members that fear is the voice in your head that's trying to protect you from things that you don't need protecting from.
Well said, love that. It is overreacting, let's put it that way, it
Yeah,
overreacts.
but it's normal, and
Yeah.
it's normal, it's not a shameful, don't be ashamed. People look at me like, "Jody, you're so fearless, you do everything." I have friends that think that, I go, "I do it with fear." The only
Absolutely.
difference is fear is back there, and I'm just like you said, if you have not seen Liz Gilbert's Letter to Fear, Google it. You don't have to buy the book.
Yeah.
Google Liz Gilbert's Letter to Fear, and it's all about and for those of you from our generation, you can't even touch the roadmap, right? I love that when she says can't touch
Well,
the roadmap.
I've been using this whole driving analogy for how we navigate life, and the
Yeah.
journey of life. And I get a little schmaltzy on it, but I basically say, once we're over 50, after 50 years on this planet, we've got a really finely tuned GPS inside of us. We know in our hearts the right way to go. So fear can like type in from behind. Regret sometimes comes as a passenger and all of that. But what I believe, and this is so empowering to even think about it, is that not only do we get to decide, being a witness and as you said, being aware of why or thinking about why, we get to flip it. I call it flipping it. So I like to flip fear to fuel. And so I think that the more I can use the fear, like you said, to enhance your courage, to fuel your commitment and your confidence, it all of a sudden becomes almost amusing where you
It's a
really
game, like
think
a
of
game.
yeah, it's like, okay, I woke up at 3 in the morning and I did this recently. I had a really weird sensation in my nose, and that's where my cancer was right behind my sinuses in my head. And I had this sensation that freaked me out. And I just said, "Oh my god, it's coming back." That's fear. That's a big fear. But in that moment, I took a deep breath and I said, "You don't know. That's not a truth. That's a fear. And yeah, pay attention to it. Go see your doctor, but it's not. I'm sure it's fine." And so it took a lot for me. There
I'm
there would have
sure.
been a time when those kinds of fears would level me until I saw the doctor, but I basically compartmentalized it, said, "You cannot fear those things that have not happened." And sort of back to this email that you reacted to, one of the key things is you can't fear the unexpected. You have to get excited about the unexpected things that may happen in your journey.
I love that. I
Um,
love this. And let me just say, it's not easy, but yay for you
Thank
for
you.
learning to find the strength to do that. You reminded me of this as well. Here's another hack, similar to what you did, very similar. And literally before I hit record with you, I was on the phone with a friend and we did this. I recently took a course in mental fitness,
Cool.
and I'll offer this. So we've already said noticing that fear is there, becoming aware of why it's there, meaning getting curious and questioning it, and then flipping it. This is part of flipping it right here. It's a great strategy. When you're getting caught in a fear moment or maybe an assumption about a situation that you're just assuming about something, or something didn't work out the way you wanted it. Instead of saying, oh, but what if it doesn't work out? Or what if this fails? Or what if I blank? Whatever it is, stop, pause, and ask yourself, what are three other possible outcomes that could
Mm,
involve fear or a negative outcome that could be from this? What are three other and I'll just give you a brief example. The example he used in this course was he's a high level executive coach for CEOs. And if the company had like lost a ton of profits 1 year and the CEO was like, well, we're not profitable, we're going down. He goes, what could be three other reasons
absolutely.
that you lost profit? What could be three other outcomes we could get by taking different steps? So by doing that, you're looking for the good, which is flipping. Flipping is not like you said, and it's easy. And we don't blame, we don't shame anybody, especially if you've had a cancer diagnosis. But what is it? I love how you flipped it for you. But what is the other possible reason I could be having sinus pain while the humidity level could be high, the pollen level could be high, or anything?
Had too
Because
much wine
stressing,
last night, maybe. Who knows?
who knows? And I love that. I love the whole flipping it is
Yeah.
really important. And part of flipping it, it starts in that order, like being aware that it's there or getting curious about why it might have popped up in this moment. And then is this really true? And flipping it. I love it.
Well, what I love that you just said, which, I'm not sure if people listening to this like or believe in the concept of manifestation of
Mm,
our dreams. And so I don't talk a lot about manifesting. I talk about opening up and unleashing our dreams.
Yes.
So, one of the things that, and the reason I wrote the email this morning that you received this morning was that my daughter, who's 22, got her first job, her dream job, doing the work almost exactly that she envisioned when she was a sophomore in high school. She always wanted to be a marine biologist since 5. She did studies on the effects of sunscreen on coral. Flash forward, she goes to college. She gets involved for 2 years in a lab to do coral research. And here she goes out in the world. She gets a job doing coral preservation in St. Thomas. She texts me all the time. They're paying me for this, mom. They're paying me for this." So, to me, on reflection, not only is she, like all of our children, really inspiring for us as
Yeah.
they, to use your words, dare on,
They're
but
daring. Yeah.
she is evidence to me that she kept a vision and she visualized her life. She visualized what she would do. So that is something that no matter where I sit in whether they be health challenges, financial challenges, emotional challenges, empty nesting's a huge one, but also there's concepts of divorce and loss of jobs and all of those things. Wherever you stand there, once you, as you say, you sort of flip fear, you get back in touch with who you really are and what your dreams are, even the wildest ones,
Yep.
especially the wildest ones.
Especially, right. I was saying,
You
especially the
start
one.
envisioning them, even if you don't get exactly what you want. The whole physical and emotional benefit of visualizing them is powerful. I know you are a believer in vision boards, but you
Oh,
can
heck
do
yes.
that kind of visioning every single morning when
Yeah.
you're exploring this wild dream you have about something you want in your life. So I love this, I love how you've mapped the sequence of fear management flipped into dream
Yes.
or something, unleashing.
You don't need a vision board. I manifested my dream house just by seeing it in my mind and seeing it physically every single day. Driving to it's a whole story. I have that whole story. But I want to get yay for your daughter because, you know, no matter how you say it, when you can see it, and let me just be clear, some people can't actually see the house of their dreams or see but you can feel it. If you can dream it,
Mhm.
you can feel it. Feel it, see it, dream it, and make it happen.
Yeah.
And all manifestation is aligning your visions and your thoughts with your dreams. That's all it is. That's
Mhm.
all it is. Making your
Absolutely.
mind work in your favor. And then once you have that vision, just take action. You have to take action, but you'll know clearly what action steps you need to take because you have this vision in your mind. So
And you
I
have
like,
to believe, you have to
yeah,
have trust, you have to
yeah,
believe, you have to trust yourself,
yeah,
you have to know yourself,
yeah.
you have to love yourself, all of that to really be able to say, "I'm gonna go for it,"
Both like, I
and
mean,
not
which,
say, "Oh, I shouldn't do that, that's selfish," or, "Oh, I could never do that, it's too late." As Janine Vanderberg, said, if she's one of the speakers that will join you and us at our Quest event in May, she said, dreams do not have an expiration date. It is never too late to follow your dreams. Yeah, I'm not gonna be a prima ballerina.
no.
I'm 64. That ain't happening. Pardon my language.
Oh, I
But
don't, this is beyond empty nest. We drop mountains all the time. You can say anything you want here on our show.
well, so back to it. I never would have been a prima ballerina. I was a little bit of a trip over your own foot kind of dancer, but if that was a dream of mine when I was younger and I didn't get it, I could decide to be like, "Oh god, I missed that chance." Or I could say like, "I can dance. I can turn on my Alexa in the kitchen and dance. I can get together with my friends and dance. I can learn choreographed dance if I want to. I don't need to be on the Lincoln Center stage. I can find a way to have that same
Feeling.
physical and emotional feeling
Yeah.
just if I choose how to look at it and not regret it or not
Yeah.
be sad that it's too late or I think it's too late, so,
Love it.
anyway,
I love it. There's so much more about about all of this. And I want to go back to, you sharing the story about your daughter. And I will tell you, my
Mm.
children have inspired me, and I'm watching whether they believe in manifestation and vision boards and visualization, which I think they might, but they're not really sharing that with me. Both of them, whether they know it or not, have shared what it is they want to do with their lives and their careers and have made it happen.
Yeah.
They've shared it with me, and I can, if they don't believe it, I can tell them they did. But watch your children.
Yeah.
Pay attention to your children, because they are daring and they are brave. And most of the time they do things and they are fearful inside. And both my children, Ellie and Dan, served as springboards to getting me out of fear, to
Mm.
manage my fear and say, and to question it. Is this really true? Like, why is this feeling up? And I push through. And it's because of my children, because
Yes.
they inspire me. They don't know it, but they did it. And I tell them. But so, yeah. So watch your children. All right.
Well, I love what you said because it's not just that we're proud of them and, "Oh, I'm so happy, honey," but we can truly be authentic and vulnerable enough as they get older to
Yeah.
say, "You know what? That's a really wise decision, and you've
Yes.
impacted my own, so thank you." You
Yes,
know,
absolutely. Watch your children. If you need some
watch your
inspiration,
children.
watch your children. Watch your
Yeah.
children become who they. That's one of the what I tell women who are really, really sad moms as their kids go off to college or out to the world and they're empty nest and they're sad. I said, yes, feel sad and then move through it and
Yeah.
flip, do the flip, do Diana's flip and say, you know what? I could choose to
Flip
stay
it.
in sadness, or I can sit back and I can watch my children become. And why are they out there becoming who they want to be? Because I gave them the tools. I raised them to go out, brave new experiences, meet new people, and become who they want to become. Yes, that's what we did. So flip that script. I love it. All right.
You know what? I just wanna say
Yeah,
this
go.
on an aside because I missed your vision board workshop, which I am a big believer in creating a visual representation, either in my head or on a piece of paper. Um, there's a version of this that might work for younger our younger kids. My daughter actually was on Canva, and she sent me she goes, "This is my vibe board for 2024." So calling it her vibe board was more interesting for her, and it I was just I didn't ask her, but she did it. So
I love that.
she's getting that
Oh,
practice
yeah.
of really envisioning life, and and this is the key thing. Never say never. It's never too late.
I love that. I love that. So I could go on and on. We
I
could go.
know, we could
The,
talk
the
all
problem
day.
is Diana and I, this could be a 2-hour episode, but we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna wrap it. Have you back. We're gonna have you back. Have you
Thank you.
back. So I wanted to say a couple things. Go back and listen to this. There was a lot in this, and start questioning your fears. Start paying attention, because unleashing your wildest dreams, it's what you deserve. It's why you're here. And your dreams will support and inspire others. And that's the best gift we can ever get. And here's the thing. I know that Diana, we're going to leave with a dare in a minute, but I can't let this end without saying your dare. Diana's embarking on a huge dare. One that I think so many of us in the women empowerment entrepreneurial journey dared to dream of doing. And you're doing it, and you've invited me to be part of it. You are curating, because the one thing we had to talk about was our both of us, our shared passion on the power of community and bringing midlife women together. Because when you bring midlife women together as a community in person, magic happens.
It is magic.
So
Yes.
Diana is curating an event this spring in May called West. Give the Cliff Note version of like what you say. I don't have it in front of me. What you say,
That's
Quest.
okay. I'll just be quick, but it really is all about a gathering of fiercely curious women who are ready to and want to connect with other women who are looking ahead and embracing possibility and ready to unleash their wildest dreams. It's not they're great speakers like yourself, but really the power of it is the conversations, the stories you'll share. As I
Love it.
said to a friend, even in the line to the bathroom, you're gonna just you know what it's like when you meet a woman and you go,
Yes.
"Oh, me too." And at this stage in our lives, we we do need different types of friendships. So
Yeah, it's
it's
gonna be
really that
big.
community that you're building and that I'm loving building as well that is important for this
It's
time of life.
it's gonna be a life-changing event, and guess what, everybody? You can come and meet me and Diana, and you can
Yay.
dare to attend
Oh
your
my.
first, your second, your third, whatever number it is for you, Women Empowerment Conference and Celebration, and it's in a beautiful area of the Northeast called Rhode Island, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. The link is in the bio. Check it out. Reach out to Diana or I if you have questions, but if you dare to decide to come, please let me know. Let me know so we can connect and meet up and get to know each other because you're part of my Beyond Empty Nest community, and that matters big time to me. All right, your dare. We're ending on a dare. We have so many dares, which what really dare is to face your fears, but dare, the specific dare that you are giving everybody today is
Take a half an hour and dig in and remember back to when you were about 5. What were the things you loved the most and what define what is your wildest dream? What is that one thing you will dare to explore starting today?
I love that. I love that. And listen, I'm going to tell you all, I know that there's research around the 5-year-old thing, but I'm even
Yeah.
dare for anybody out there who walked away from a career to
Mm.
raise their children full time, or for those that are in a career that are just like, I'm just done with being an accountant, done with being a lawyer. Um, Go back to your high school, college self. And what did you, maybe you became a lawyer and you loved it, and yet you had a different dream and you decided to do that instead. So
What did you subvert? Yes.
yes. So dare to ask yourself to reflect and go back in your life to a place in life when you had that big wild dream and get in touch with it again. And then take your first action step towards it. Share it with us. All right, everybody. That's a wrap of the 50th episode of Beyond
Oh
Empty
God, I'm
Nest.
honored.
So excited. And if you missed last week's episode, go back because it was a special 1-year compilation. And Diana, you were part of that too,
Oh,
where
wow.
7 of our guests shared some of their best tips for you. And we put it together in a special compilation. And that was last
Oh,
week.
wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So dare to discover, dare to leave us a review, dare to send me a message, and come back next week for another episode of Beyond Empty Nest. And as I always say, dare on. Thank you for listening to this episode of Beyond Empty Nest. Head over to jodysilverman.com for our full show notes, more information, and additional resources to support you through emptiness and midlife. And if you've enjoyed today's show and are ready to embrace this midlife chapter, then you must take the Happy for No Reason quiz. When you take the quiz, you'll discover what your happiness set point is and how you can increase it and continue to strengthen it. This is just one key to navigating life transitions and discovering your most fulfilled and daring life. So go ahead, click the link below and take the quiz now. I'll see you next Thursday. Dare on.